what's quite interesting about this letter is that there are a few things that many scholars and theologians are debating on what could have been the false doctrine that John was actually fighting against. Number one, we must first understand that it was unknown. The very specific false doctrine is unknown. Okay? Because John does not specify in 1 John by name what exactly that false doctrine was. But what we do know about 1 John, they were battling a certain false teaching, which we're going to see in a bit, but the exact name is not known. Secondly, scholars and theologians have suggested that this false doctrine may have been the start of something called Gnosticism. Okay? Now, Gnosticism, for many of you that may not know this, Gnosticism was actually a false teaching, a false doctrine that actually threatened the church for the first 3 centuries. Okay? And the meaning of Gnosticism comes from the Greek word gnosis. And the meaning of gnosis is knowledge. Okay? Now, what's quite dangerous about this doctrine is that not only was it a dangerous doctrine for the first 3 centuries of the early Christian church, but the reason why it's called Gnosticism is because they believed you did not have to have faith in Christ for salvation. All that you needed was to have some supernatural knowledge to get salvation. And this knowledge required that you had to be a special person. This knowledge also required that you had to be more superior than the scriptures. So in other words, the people who believed Gnosticism was teaching you can get salvation through a supernatural knowledge, and you didn't have to have faith completely in Jesus to be saved. Okay? Are we getting this, church? Is this clear? Now, another important thing about it is that Gnosticism, if indeed this was the actual doctrine that they were battling, it had 2 specific elements that made it very dangerous. One of them is called Docetism. Docetism